Sandra Bishop once said, "No matter where life takes you, don't forget where you came from." Hello, everyone, and welcome to Nerdy Optometrist, a podcast channel for all things optometry. And this is your host, Ukti Vora. Before we get started with the episode, please remember to like, share, and subscribe to Nerdy Optometrist on your favorite channel, and do share it with all your friends and colleagues. Today, I have a very special friend and a colleague that I've known for years now. And the quote that I started with, talking about roots and not forgetting where you came from, she actually defines and lives that life today and is a true example of what we all should be inspired from. And it's such a pleasure to have Miss Isha Dave with us today. Isha Dave has done her BSc Honours of Optometry from City University and Masters in Clinical Optometry from City University's UK. She is the Proprietor and Senior Optometrist at Primary Eye Care Center with her interest in specialty contact lenses and myopia management. She is a senior faculty at Lotus College of Optometry, Mumbai, fellow of IACLE and BCLA, and currently she is in a new adventure of being a co-founder at Asira, an optometry EMR and practice management software. She is definitely a nerd if you haven't realized it. So welcome, Isha, to the Nerdy Optometrist family.
Thank you so much, Ukti, and thank you for inviting me to be on the show. I am very, very excited to be here.
Likewise. So I have known you for years now, but I don't know this one question which I ask everyone of how did it all started? Like, how did you bump into the field of optometry? Was it something you had planned, or was it an accident for you, just like many of us?
Me getting into optometry was no bumping at all. It was completely 100% planned.
Okay.
As tradition says, we tend to follow in our parents' footsteps, which is exactly what I did. So my mom is an optometrist. I am pretty much followed in the same footsteps as her. I went to the same college as her. She also studied in the UK and moved to India. I also studied in the UK and moved to India. And I'm also myself, I've been very myopic since the age of 6. So besides being surrounded by eye care, I also related to it quite well because I had my own eye issues from a very young age. So it was I feel like it's kind of in my blood.
Absolutely, yes. And for all of us who are in India, we definitely know your mom and her success stories and how incredible work she has done in the field of optometry as well as like in contact lens space. So you definitely do carry the legacy and bring in more and more things for people in, practicing optometry in India. But
Thank
you went to UK to study. But, sometimes we're tempted to just stay there because the standards are better. The profession has a different recognition, different state compared to what it is in India. But I want to know, how was your professional journey overall? Going to study was one thing, but tell me more details about it.
So actually this is my second tour of India. So I moved, my family, my dad is Indian, he's from India. My mum actually grew up in East Africa. So typical Gujarati family who moved from India to East Africa in the 50s. And that's where she was born and raised. And she moved to the UK. That's where my parents met, and that's where I was born. And then when I was about 3.5, we all packed up and moved to India, which was great. I enjoyed having my childhood in India. But when I was 10 years old, they shipped me off to boarding school back in the UK.
Okay.
So I've been in the UK for many, many years, had been. So finished secondary school, finished university, even bought a house, worked for a couple of years. I was exactly as you said, I was on track to just be there. That was the plan. The plan was just, okay, this is where I'm going to be. This is going to be my life. And what I realized is that it was great as a child, I went there when I was a child. So as a child, as a teenager, as a student, it was wonderful. I had a great time. However, the second I graduated from university and entered the world of work and real life, I realized being there alone with no family. Of course, I had a lot of friends and everything, but being there alone with no family was challenging. And the work culture in the West is very different from the work culture here. The sense of community in the West is very different from the sense of community here. So I feel I sort of started feeling that also. After I graduated, I worked for a company for a year. It's now known as Boots Opticians. So I worked with them for a year, and then I stopped working for them, and I was what we call a locum. For those who don't know, a locum is somebody who gets paid by the day. And the money is great. I'm not going to lie. We get in the UK optometry, locums get paid between 250 and 300 pounds a day, which is nice, you know. However, it's like I felt like I was a glorified factory worker. So I'd go to all these opticians, I'd see 25 patients a day, and most of them just regular, normal patients. Like occasionally I'd see something interesting, occasionally, you know? And so within 2 years of being a glorified factory worker, a very well-paid, mind you, glorified factory worker, I was like, I think I need to find something better. So I tried to apply to Moorfields Eye Hospital and some of the other eye hospitals in London, thinking maybe, you know, I'd do some more interesting work, but they said you need 3 years of work experience. And at that point, I only had 2. And then I got ants in my pants and I got really impatient. And I was like, I can't keep doing this. I need a break. So I came to India for like 3 months. A sort of mom was looking at semi-retiring and like winding down her practice. And I sort of would pop in now and then and see what's up. And thought, you know, this is an interesting opportunity. I saw that she was doing a lot of specialty contact lens fitting, which I knew nothing about, like absolutely nothing. I'd been a factory worker for these last 2 years. So I knew nothing about that. And, you know, she was working with a lot of ophthalmologists, and that was something I was interested in. And so when she was talking about winding down the clinic, I was like, hold on a second, like, let me sort of have a look at this opportunity. And so for a whole year, so most of 2010, I went back and forth between the UK and India, trying to live this like double life where I'd spend like three months in the UK and work locum 7 days a week and save up enough money to come and earn nothing for 3 months in India and just spend, you know. And then I realized that this is not really sustainable. I need to make a decision. So then in September 2010, I decided to just pack up shop and packed up my flat, rented it out, and just moved my whole life to India. So that was, yeah. So it wasn't quite a snap decision. It was a lot of going back and forth and a lot of sort of trying to figure out, you know, what I would like to do. But people say that America is the land of opportunity. I disagree. I think India is a land of opportunity. We have a population of 1.4 billion. We are the most populated country in the world, and we also have the youngest population in the world. So of course, what did I do? I specialized in children because we have lots of them, you know. So when I did my master's and everything, I focused on contact lenses. Back then, myopia management was still very new back in 2013 when I was doing my master's. Even my master's, I did back and forth. So I didn't go there and stay there. I sort of did it. It took me 5 years to complete it because I kept going back and forth, coming to being in India, then going for a module, sitting an exam, coming back, you know. So it took a while to finish that as well, but that was fine. I was happy to do it because every time I learned something new on one of my master's modules, I'd be able to come back and immediately implement it in my clinic over here. So I think that there are great opportunities in India. We have this huge patient base, massive patient base, and so much opportunity for research, so much opportunity for growth, so much opportunity to experiment, you know, lots and lots of things to do here. And I love India. Like, I like being here. I like the culture. I like the people. I feel safe. and there is that sense of community, which does not exist in the West. People look out for each other. Neighbors look out for each other. Everyone treats everybody like family. It's nice. It's good. Coming from a place where people really could not, won't look at you twice, and won't, and each to their own. Coming to a culture where people actually look out for each other is a very refreshing thing.
Absolutely. And I think a couple of things that you mentioned are incredible. And a huge shout out to your mom, because I have to say that she had a contact lens specialty practice in India, which is very rare for, or probably never heard of. I'm sure she had her own struggles when she started off, right? So people in the West, or people, listening, might feel like opening a contact lens specialty clinic is not a big deal. Well, I have to share this, that in India, there are not many optometrists who have specialty contact lens clinics. To build one, to have that patient base, to create something which is different, create a whole different opportunity for yourself has been a huge thing. And I probably only knew your mom when I was studying as well. Someone who had this kind of a practice to begin with.
So actually, I don't think that's quite true anymore, because in my travels across the country, I have found that optometrists here, the ones who really want to apply themselves, and there are many,
Yeah.
They are smart, they are ambitious, and they are adventurous. They're not afraid to try anything new. I have colleagues in the UK who've been doing the same factory work for the last 15 years.
Yes,
and whereas I see young optometrists, so as you know, I'm a faculty at Lotus College, and some of these kids are so enterprising and so smart and very ambitious. And I really appreciate that when I see that here. And optometrists here now, with the tools that we have. So my mom moved to India in 1987 when contact lenses was not really a thing.
Yes.
And we didn't have refractive surgery then either. So she was smart. She entered at a very good time, and created a market,
Correct.
for people
True.
who
Yeah.
for something that wasn't there, that wasn't available. And I think that's what we need to do as well as optometrists, is move forward and, sort of not stick to what we know, like West, do something new, be sort of enterprising, be adventurous in what we do in our endeavors.
Absolutely.
And I see that in a lot of young Indian optometrists.
Oh, yes, absolutely. That's what I meant when I said, like, when your mom started it, it was like a new thing. Now,
right,
for me, like for the past 10 years, like the students who reach out to me, they are very well aware about the opportunities. They are well learned. They are ready to explore things. So when I talk about, like, when I got into optometry, that was like more than 15 years ago. So that's when I'm like, okay, there are very few people who have created this special niche in optometry, while rest of them would work with academics, hospitals, which is there, but not many people were bold or adventurous enough back then. And now definitely the scenario is completely different. Specifically, like people have started working and building more and more like startups working for them. Like that entire culture has now come up in India as well, right? So that's definitely very different now than when it was, even when I was studying, or I'm sure for your mom when she started, finding this niche and space. And the other thing you mentioned about like the community, I think that's definitely something which I can also vouch for, that I miss at times, that things are very different in terms of work culture. And the third amazing thing you mentioned is about opportunity. Sometimes we really underestimate things that we are easily given. Like we take them for granted. Like when I was in India, like, okay, yeah, you know what? There are here. Let me see for opportunities outside. It's more glamorous. I want to see what's outside. But when you actually step out, you understand the struggles and you realize it's not as green as it sounds. And this, you might not have a struggle to maybe make money, but the other struggles are sometimes debatable if you want to really give up on them, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think that relatively speaking, we are young, relatively speaking. um, but and so at this is the stage where I can be adventurous and try and make that try and sort of, when it comes to money, like I'm not in a hurry to make so much money right away. I would rather sort of be a little bit adventurous, make enough so that I can sustain my lifestyle and put a little bit away. But I'm not in a hurry to, I'm not willing to sacrifice the potential that I have as an optometrist, as a clinician, as an academic. I'm not willing to sacrifice that for the sake of 250 pounds a day factory work. Do you know what I mean? So that's I think that was a big reason for me to come to India. Yeah, it was a massive pay cut. I'm not gonna lie, but ultimately, like, I was still here with family, with a support system, which I never had in the UK, you know? And talking about this community thing and the work culture, just one example of something that all those years working in the UK, when I moved to India and when I first started at Lotus, we would all sit together and we would have lunch and everybody would share their food, and that was something that I just wasn't aware of, and everybody would share their food, and like it wasn't like a this is mine, this is mine, this is mine. It was a case of let's put everything on the table and just help yourself to whatever you want,
Yes.
and that was something that I had completely, and it changes your perspective as well. So while before I'd carry like maybe a sandwich that only I can eat, I started carrying different things, things that I can share, like things I'd make, like a pasta, or I'd make like something that they wouldn't normally eat every day. I'd make like a pasta or make like a stir fry, something like that, and bring that and be like, okay, guys, let's share. It was something new, and this is like a really nice part of Indian culture. I showed up without lunch sometimes, and people would be like, okay, yeah, you can have some from my tiffin.
Yeah.
This sounds like a small thing and a very normal thing for like an Indian audience, but for someone who's come from abroad and doesn't know about this culture, it was amazing. It was a really, really nice part of like moving here and starting to work here.
Oh yes, definitely. And I can relate to you because when I moved from India to United States, I had an incident when I was working in a retail setup in an optical place, and there you get a lunch break and everybody takes turns. So you have to basically eat alone. And it was difficult for me to finish my lunch because I've never done that all my life. So I had I had a reverse problem, like, okay, I have to just sit alone. Like, what's going on?
Yeah, exactly. It was nice. Like we all take lunch together and we sit and we have a chat, and we just like, it makes you enjoy coming to work. Like it makes you sort of be like, okay, this is not just a job, these guys are like family. I've been at Lotus for almost 12 years now, and the people, and it's part of my sort of being now. Being there and going there 3 times a week is a big part of who I am.
Well, who you are has definitely changed over the years, and I think it's the right time to start talking about it. So you already have a practice which you manage and do specialty contact lens and myopia management. You do teach as a faculty at Lotus. So of course you had a plate full of everything that you could achieve, probably 6 days a week. Now you have added on top of it building your own software called Asira. So first of all, you definitely are like giving a different aspiration to people who call themselves nerds, that we feel we are struggling, and you're like, okay, no, not yet. Let's add one more big project to change something and make your life more challenging. So let's talk about Asira a little bit, and then I'll follow up with my questions. How did that happen, and why did you even start?
Okay, so basically what happened was I wanted to, so as you know, my mum's practice that I've taken over now, it's been 1987 is when she started it. So we're talking about close to 40 years, right? It got to this stage, and we were still using paper records. I was still doing the traditional thing and using paper records. And it got to the stage where I was like taking boxes, because we have to keep them for 7 years. So for those people who don't know, especially now that optometry in India has moved since the 21st of March, since the 16th of March, 2021, optometry, I think that's the correct date, optometry has moved from allied health to independent healthcare, okay? So we can now practice as independent practitioners. That's a huge thing for us, like a huge thing. Like I always had an ophthalmologist on my payroll all these years, even my mum before that. We always had an ophthalmologist on the payroll because technically we are allied health.
Right.
I don't need to do that anymore. Like I don't need to, I mean, I still have my tie-ups with my ophthalms, but like I don't need to have one on my payroll because we can now practice independently, which is a huge step for us. And we have to give a massive shout out to OCI and ASCO and all of these huge organizations that have worked really, really hard. I didn't see this happening before I retired, but here we are. It's fantastic. And now that we're independent healthcare practitioners, we will be regulated a lot more stringently, okay? So that's why OCI is working very hard to put legislation in place to be a regulatory body where people have to register and do continuous education and training to stay up to date, to continue practicing as an optometrist. And one of those regulations will be maintaining clinical records, okay? There is a lot of people now who are not maintaining any clinical records. But as independent practitioners, I guarantee you that legislation will come in place. And those people who are in talks with the government right now will attest to that as well. So if you have a look at the OCI website, they have a section called the Best Practice Standards, okay? Best Practice Standards is a set of guidelines that optometrists should be following to carry out a comprehensive eye examination, okay? Now, that is something that a lot of us have been doing all these years anyway, but also many people haven't. So it's something that OCI is working very, very hard to introduce and to try and get everybody to start moving in that direction, because ultimately we will be regulated, and we will be, if we want to call ourselves optometrists, we will be, by law, we will have to conduct comprehensive eye examinations. And this stuff is just around the corner. We're not talking about 5 years away, 10 years away. We're talking about in the next couple of years. So we have to maintain clinical records for 7 years as per the General Medical Council. So this is, and I assume a lot of these things will be based on what doctors and dentists do. So I have to maintain clinical records for 7 years. So I was getting to the point where I had to bring boxes of paper records and store them in my house. Like I have boxes stored in my bedroom cupboards because there was no space left at my clinic to keep records. I was like, okay, that's about it. I'm not prepared to do this anymore. And like, it is 2022. We need to move into the future. I need to go digital. Like, this is ridiculous. And when I was working back in England in 2009, 2008, 2009, things were going digital then. And it's been so many years. It's been almost 15 years since then, right? And still, in optometry in India, we don't have anything. Now, a big question is, why is Asira unique from other like EMR software, right? Like, what is it that, like, why not just use a Practo? Okay. So what I did was, I was looking to to sort of invest in a software. So I did a lot of research, went online. I found a couple of like international companies, American companies, Irish companies, and I looked into it, and I was like, oh, look, this is great. And they're like, oh, great, that's only $200 a month. And I was like, only, do you know how much that is in rupees a month? Are you kidding? I was like, listen,
That's not happening.
they're out. That's not happening, right? They're out. And then I looked at some local software. So I looked at some ophthalmology softwares, which were great. However, they were very, very complex. I wouldn't use about half of what was on there. And stuff that I do, which is contact lenses and binocular vision and, various different vision therapies, things like that, things that I do as an optometrist, low vision, for example, things that we do as optometrists was not on there, so we didn't, so you're giving me a software. So either it's just too generic where I end up having to type. So typing is not much faster than writing. So if I have to type everything that I'm going to write, it gets
I might as well just write it.
I might as well just write it, it's not, and on top of that, I'm paying money for this. So yes, okay, it solves my storage situation, but it's not, in fact, it's going to take me longer because your software is so complicated. It's going to take me like a couple of weeks to figure out how to use it. And then on top of that, it's not giving me everything I need as an optometrist. So if you look at, say, a general physician or maybe, a cardiologist or like an ENT specialist, I'm saying ENT because I went to an ENT specialist recently. And what do? They basically take your history, they poke and prod at you a little bit, and then they prescribe medication. And that's like the entire examination done, right? As optometrists, we take a history, we check vision, visual acuity, we do a refraction, we do an objective refraction, we do a subjective refraction. We want to document the history, we want to document the vision, we want to document the objective refraction, we want to document the subjective refraction. We do some basic binocular vision tests. Basic binocular vision tests is maybe 5. So we'll maybe do check to see if there's suppression. So we do a work 4 dot. We might do a cover test. We might do near point of convergence, near point of accommodation, maybe pupils and motility as part of our routine eye examination. Okay. We've not even reached halfway yet. Okay. Then we're going to pull out our slit lamps. We're going to do a full anterior segment evaluation. Then we're going to pull out our ophthalmoscopes or our Volk lens. We're going to do a posterior segment evaluation. We're going to find 5 different things wrong with this patient. So they need new glasses. They have blocked meibomian glands. And if they're old, they might have a little bit of cataract, right? So there's lots and lots of different things going on with this patient, okay? We take 20 minutes to half an hour to do a thorough eye examination. We have about 20 different tests to do, and then we have to document all of our findings and what we're going to do. And then we may go on and refer. There's a lot of documentation to be done as an optometrist. And, it's not simply ask a history. So I went to my dentist. Let's talk about dentists. I went to my dentist and I said, show me. And she's a friend of mine. So she got me to lie down, said, what's wrong? I told her this hurts. And she was like, okay, she got me to lie down. I opened my mouth and she poked and prodded and she did a few things, right? All very painful, very uncomfortable, not enjoyable at all. But anyway, then as I was leaving, I was like, show me your software. And it was very nice. It was very simple. It was a mouth with all the teeth. And then you click on the tooth and there's a drop down of all the possible treatments that can be done.
Yeah.
And that's it. And that was it, because essentially, it's the same thing, right? You go to a dentist, they will open your mouth and they will do a bunch of things to 1, 2, 3, 4 teeth, right? Whereas with us, we are doing so many different things that we have to document, so many. So even if we do, you remember the case sheets from Lotus, it's 2 pages of A4 front and back.
Yes.
And that's just for your low vision examination or your binocular vision examination.
Yeah.
This is and if you look at the Orbis case sheet, which is for children, right? Even that, 3 pages, front and back, A4.
Right.
So much documentation, so much paper, and so much time. That's when I was like, no, this is not going to work. I need something for optometrists. you know, if I have all of these things, sure, ophthalmologists can use it as well. You know, we can,
Yes.
there's a lot of stuff there's a lot of overlap between the two of us, but there's a lot of things that optometrists do that ophthalmologists don't.
Yes.
Ophthalmologists obviously do surgery, but optometrists do so many more things. Like when we do a pediatric eye examination, it takes so long. There are so many things that we check. So, and the history taking is also so much more, so much different compared to a normal eye test. So that's why I said I'm going to build something that is specifically for optometrists. And that's where the whole idea of Asira came in, where and something that's easy to use, something that's, so my partner, he is an engineer and he's also a designer, okay? A product designer. So he understands a lot about user experience and user interface. Now we've extended our team. We also have a junior developer and we have a consultant senior developer, because we need the senior developer to help us with compliance, because obviously in India at the moment for EMR, it's a bit of a gray area. They're still working on building a regulation. However, there are some regulations. So we are following international regulations for EMR. So that would include HIPAA and HL7. We looked at the Data Protection Act as well in the UK. The Europe has GDPR. So we are following all of these compliances, which is why we need a senior developer to help us with all of that, to make sure everything is legit and above board. So this is where the whole idea of Asira came. And so as research, I did a survey and realized that 50% of, and this is people who filled the survey, 50% are not using any software at all for clinical documentation. And then OCI, we sponsored OCI's 5-city conference, which was really fun. And I got to learn about what's happening in the rest of the country, which was amazing. And I realized that a lot of people are not even keeping clinical records. So it's not just, so you know, I mentioned earlier, my mom entered a market and created a market that didn't really exist. So essentially, this is me trying to, again, walk in my mother's footsteps and do the same thing, where I'm trying to create a market and show people how going digital can really make their life easier. And not just that, but even grow your business, you know.
Yes, absolutely.
Encourage you to be better practitioners, and encourage you to really use go digital and use software to your advantage.
Absolutely. And I think I personally feel that's definitely the right path to go in, especially with so many things happening in the technical space, where you want to expand your practice, where you want to go beyond four walls, right? Like documenting on paper. And also sometimes it's difficult to kind of get that file, you know, you have to kind of, it's such a hassle to kind of go back and forth in the records, versus this is all digital. You get everything in a click. Like, when you can pay just by scanning your phone, why not keep a digital record?
Exactly. And the other thing is that the West, so America, UK, I mean, Australia's technically not West, but, you know, these places, it's a norm. EMR is a norm. Like you worked in an optical and an optometry practice, right? So you know that EMR and software is a norm. People don't use paper anymore. Why are we behind? Like, this is something, why are we behind? Like, we have the brightest minds in the world. All the biggest CEOs are Indian. All the biggest CEOs in America, the CEO of Google, the CEO of Microsoft, Indians. So we have the smartest minds in the world. We have the best engineers in the world. Did you know that for people who are applying to IIT, most of them have already got into Harvard, Stanford, and MIT. And those are their second choices, because their first choice is IIT. And if they don't, the BBC did a documentary on this. And if they don't get into IIT, then they'll go to their Harvards and their Stanfords and their MIT. because we have the best engineering minds in the world, and we have the youngest population in the world. And young people understand tech. I don't understand tech as well as my Optom does, who's 12 years younger than me, and she's so much faster and so much quicker. And these people are our future. So I want to have a product ready for young optometrists. And this is specifically built for optometrists, for eye care professionals, because we have a lot of documentation to do, a lot.
Absolutely. And I think this is incredible. And as you even mentioned about this earlier when we started recording the episode, is there's a lot of opportunity in India. And to talk about, you started picking up or working in the space of following your mom's practice, like specialty contact lens, myopia management, right? And now you also found this whole opportunity of EMRs, which of course didn't exist specifically in the optometry space, but you kind of, instead of complaining about it or living with the fact, yeah, it does not exist, you found a solution and you're working towards it. And that's something which is very inspirational. And I really hope everyone listening to this episode will reach out to you just to learn a little more about Asira and how can they use it maybe today, tomorrow, in the future. I'm sure it's very interesting just to learn a little more about new products coming in the market, for sure.
Thank you. I hope so too. That would be lovely.
For all those listening to this episode, I'll be dropping the information of Isha as well as Asira. So feel free to reach out to her. And she's definitely an incredible person to talk to. I have done or seen a demo of Asira, and it's definitely worth checking out. It's simple, smart, and very specific for your needs. So definitely do check it out.
And the nerdy optometrist, so fellow nerdy optometrist, thank you so much for giving me this opportunity to talk about Asira and to talk about India in general. So I just wanted to mention that I know a lot of you young kids are very, very keen on, leaving the country and going out and seeing what's out there. And I would encourage you to sort of look around you first.
Yes.
See what opportunities you have. How can you contribute to your own community, to your own society? And what can you do for your own people before you sort of head out?
Yes.
Step out. Just give it some thought. Don't be in a rush to go away, to run away, to, see what's out there. There's a lot of opportunity right here at home. A lot.
Absolutely.
So don't give up on that opportunity.
Absolutely. And I think we've learned a lot about you, your journey, Asira, but I think it's time to jump into my game segment where we'll not be talking anything about, or maybe a little bit about optometry, but mainly about who you are. So I'm excited to learn more about you as Isha Dave, not the optometrist.
Fun. I love games.
So this is a very simple one. It's a rapid fire round.
Okay.
So you're already in the hot seat. So we just ask you some questions and you just have to answer whatever things comes first in your mind.
Okay.
All right. So first question, tell me about your favorite destination.
South Africa.
All right. Tell us about your hobby or something you like to do during your downtime.
I have 4 animals.
Okay. So you have no downtime with 3 jobs. So, okay. I give up the wrong question.
But no, my 4 animals are really just the most important thing. It sounds crazy, but they're the most important thing to me in the world. They give me so much peace. Like when I come home after my 3 jobs, I come home and see these like amazing, adorable faces that just love you no matter what. Even if I just went out and killed someone and came home, they'll still love me. So yeah, they are. It's if you guys, if people who love animals, I'm sure you'll appreciate this. It's just wonderful having them around. So yeah, they're my hobby.
All right. Okay. Tell us one thing about you which people don't know.
One thing about me which people don't know. I actually suffer from quite bad anxiety. Yes.
You look quite sorted to even
I
mention.
know. That's what people with anxiety are very, very good at doing, is compartmentalizing and appearing sorted. But all up in here, it's not always the case. So little, raising awareness a little bit about mental health and anxiety. People who look sorted may not always feel
Yeah.
sorted. So be kind.
Yes, absolutely. I think that's a good thing to share and create awareness as well. Tell us about your favorite cuisine.
Oh, Japanese, number one, top.
All right.
Japanese for sure, followed by Lebanese, like Thai food also. And of course, pizza. Like, who doesn't love pizza?
Wonderful. If you were to interview someone, dead or alive, who would that be and what would be the question?
Oh, wow, that's a big question. Sorry, if I were to interview someone, dead or alive, who would that be and what
Yeah.
would be that question?
Yeah.
Nelson Mandela.
And what would be your question?
Where did you find the strength to forgive?
Wonderful. If we were to write an autobiography about your journey, what would you like the title to be?
Oh my goodness. What would I like the title of my book to be? Probably Optometry and Beyond.
Okay. One thing you would like to change about the eye care industry.
Where?
You choose.
At least in India, I would like optometrists to empower themselves more. Like, I would like it to come from within. I would like optometrists to take much more pride in what they do.
That's wonderful. All right, so you did wonderful in the rapid fire round. I definitely know to take you to the Japanese restaurants whenever we meet, wherever we meet. And if you don't get anything, pizza is going to be our dinner.
Pizza is not going to be a problem.
All right. So thank you so much, Isha, once again for your wonderful conversation. And before I let you go, do you have any final takeaway message?
I think I've pretty much said it all, but just to summarize, young optometrists, please don't leave us, stay here and empower yourselves. You know everything, just find the confidence to sort of do it and be adventurous and don't be scared. Fear can be crippling, but you just have to the rewards are amazing if you can overcome that fear. And most importantly, be kind.
Absolutely. And I think this has been such a wonderful episode and learning experience for me as well. I'm sure everyone at least will be able to inspire a couple of young optometrists and make them realize there could be more that they can do here or wherever they are, and explore or do something best for optometry in India. And I'm sure that will help people around the world, because now optometry is becoming global. It's nowhere, just India or US, or, it's not just country specific. Everything is becoming global. So with that, thank you once again, Isha, for all your insights, for sharing everything you do, for inspiring us and building Asira. Wish you good luck and all the success with this new journey that you have started. For all those who are listening to this episode, as I mentioned, I'll be dropping the links in the description. Do reach out to me, Isha, reach out to Asira directly on their contact page, and I'm sure you'll be able to learn a lot more. With that, thank you once again, Isha, for your time, and it's a pleasure to have you as part of our nerdy family.
Thank you so much, Ukti. This has been amazing. It's been a lot of fun. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to talk about myself, to talk about Asira, and I hope we can do this again sometime soon.
Absolutely. We're always looking for, friends to come back and chat a little more.
Great.